Hi everyone, I just wanted to come on before the fun and frolics start with the video, which is certainly not what I would call a tutorial. It's more about what not to do. But I just wanted to explain what happened and why I didn't end up using this box. And that is because I was worried about a gator mouth and I didn't think that the spine was wide enough to accommodate the 5 signatures that I had. I did look at various options, but I really didn't want to detach that spine part from the cover pages, the cover for the journal. So really what I decided to try and do was look at some alternatives, and I happened to come across Shabby and her tutorial on making a soft spine. I fell in love with it and I had to give it a go. And this is what I've ended up with. So I've still got a gator mouth, as you can see. Didn't avoid that, but that's because there's all this grungy goodness on the page edges. Of course, if you don't want that look, then maybe avoid putting so many clusters and page trims like I have. I still love it though. It's just really grungy and it just suits the way I journal. But I really did enjoy this process. It was a great way to test my crafting skills and to follow another artist and do something I haven't done before. I love the way the soft spine has turned out and the lace and the fabrics that I've used. I think I went and made the right decision in the end, but you know, who knows? As you can see, when you open the journal, it lies really flat and it's great to journal in. So I really wouldn't have any problems in journaling in this after I'd made the cover. So basically this video is all about what not to do and some of the issues that I came to learn as I was working through Shabby Soul's tutorial, which is amazing, and I will link below. So I think all we need to do now is get on with this video and you can have a look at how I got on and how I basically made this journal cover. I really hope you enjoy. I'm just showing you my laptop setup there where I've got Shabby Soul's video in the background, and I do watch that throughout the whole of this video tutorial. So I'm cutting the pages that I want to go on the covers inside and back, so you need 4 pieces, and I've already measured the top one against the chipboard, which I cut ahead of time. I've got some tea stain fabric there and lace, which I was hoping to use, but of course as I go through this process I do change my mind quite a few times. So I go off, sew around the edges of the pages and then distress them before gluing them on. You don't have to sew, but I think it looks quite nice and I've used dark thread for that. I'm going to use glue stick to do the bulk of the gluing here because it's just so quick and easy. And I do also use Bailey art glue for the edging to make sure that there's a good adhesion and that the page won't come off the chipboard. At this stage you only need to glue down one side onto the chipboard and leave the other side. So what I did here, I couldn't quite decide on which pages I wanted in the front and the back, so I made sure that the 2 sides that I wanted separated were on the chipboard pieces, hopefully that makes sense, because I knew what I wanted on the inside cover. Got a little bit of a mark there, but I couldn't get rid of it. So first of all, I do use this rather thin fabric as the first layer to the internal spine, and you'll see as the video goes on that I do actually have to change this, but for now I'm showing you all my mistakes so that hopefully you don't make those same mistakes. As you can see here as well, I don't measure, which is pretty much throughout the whole video. I just kind of guesstimate it. So I'm using the signatures now as a guide to see how much fabric I need. I'm making sure that I've got enough on either side. And then I'm folding it down, folding it in half to make sure that I get the middle, because I've got 5 signatures, and so I'll have the middle signature and then 2 on either side. And I proceed to measure out doing the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and it's about 10.5 centimeters to the middle and then 5 centimeters either side. But as you see, as I progress through this process, you will see that I didn't do a very good job of measuring. But hey ho, we can always put these things right. When I'm doing the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, I usually use between 5 and 6 centimeters either side. I don't like to go too far to the top and bottom, mainly because my sewing is so dire, which is, you'll certainly see that as we progress through the video. It would be a lot easier if you used a template. I did really struggle with this stage of the process because I've got full signatures, but Shabby Soul really does show you how to do it in a much easier way, which is basically just sewing single pages, and then you could sew the rest of the signature in afterwards and use a sewing machine as well. So that's a really good option. But of course at this stage I couldn't do that because my signatures were already finished. I've just redone the stitching here because it was all puckered up, and you'll see me struggle a little bit more here again. I really couldn't sort out the bunching with the fabric, and it's because I'm pulling through the thread from the outside to the inside, and then that puckers it, and then I'm tying it too tight, and then I rip the fabric. Oh, so I have to undo it again. I think I undid this about 3 or 4 times. I did cut out a little bit of my mistakes because I did it so many times. I didn't think you needed to see the whole issue. But yeah, seriously, I did not do a very good job here. But all's not lost, and I didn't give in. So I remeasure there. Still didn't see that I had made a mistake. And then I'm thinking, oh, actually, I think I need to use thicker fabric for this part of the process. Bearing in mind that you can always cover this piece of fabric that you use at this stage, so don't worry too much. You're probably better off using something that is sturdy and strong enough to keep the thread. And also I'm doing this on 5 signatures, so yeah, you really do need a decent piece of fabric. I'm trying to be a bit better in terms of making a better job of the holes, so I do attach the fabric with some bulldog clips. And then it's a question of rinse and repeat really, and going through the process again. It was a bit easier with thicker fabric, I have to say, so yeah, really recommend doing that. What I do here as well is I don't tie the thread. I decide just to bow it, put it into a bow, so that I could undo it if I kept on making mistakes. So I didn't have much confidence at this stage, but it's not too bad there. I'm quite happy, and I move on to the next signature. And it does get easier the more signatures you put in. I know that's a bit counterintuitive, but it does really work. Here I'm just covering up my writing because I was getting a bit paranoid on what I had on there, and I didn't want to share my innermost dark thoughts with the rest of the social media community. Although I don't really write much really bad stuff in my journal. Sometimes I'm a little bit vocal on how I'm feeling and if somebody's upset me or whatever, so I thought I'd better cover it up. And here I try and make things easier by using a bit of washi tape on the material to poke the holes through. Again, I really would use a template. If I was going to do this again, I'd use a template to poke the holes in and do a lot better with the measuring. So it's a bit fiddly, but it's not impossible. You just got to be patient, I guess, and just keep on trying and don't give in. And as you see, as the video progresses, my sewing really is terrible, which is fully covered by the end, so there really isn't a problem when you do this. So don't be put off by my struggles. You can certainly cover up anything you're not happy with. I could see there that I'd really messed up on the sewing. You can see the size of the stitches in the front of the fabric there really is not right. But you know, I just went with it and thought, well, I'm trying something new and it's not going to be perfect, so let's just go with it and see what I can do at the end. I think it's great to have projects like this as well, where you can just practice. You can see now I've actually grabbed myself some coffee because I was getting a little bit frustrated with myself. And I did sew the rest of the signatures off camera because I just didn't want to embarrass myself too much. But I'm on to the fifth signature here now, and even though it's bulky, it's not unmanageable, and I did manage to get it done first time round. When I'm using the wax thread there, I make 3 times the amount that I need. So it's 3 times the size of these signatures, which are generally A5. And that gives me a nice length of dangle so that I can add some beads at the end. Of course, you don't have to do that. You can just tie it in the middle. And you can see there my sewing, which is rather embarrassing. But I'm hoping it will help people who are new to the process not to feel intimidated by this, because you really can cover everything up. So there's sort of slight pauses, even though I'm fast forwarding this, and it's because I'm watching the Shabby Soul tutorial as I go along. So this really is just practicing. I haven't done this ahead of time. I haven't done it before. Just giving something new a go, and I just thought, well, by the end I really enjoyed. So now I'm attaching the inner covers, and as you can see, there's no chipboard there because you don't need to put the chipboard on the inside covers. And I'm just using a little bit of glue there. Of course, you could use PVA. You could probably even get away with using a glue stick on this part. So those are the inside covers now. What I'm trying here now is looking at ways that I can actually cover my really porous binding. So I'm looking at different options, and you'll see through the process here that I keep on changing my mind. I don't know what to do, but for this bit I'm just going to add some of the thin fabric that I had initially thought I was going to use. And that's good enough for this process, just to cover up the bad sewing there. Having another look at the video that I'm following, and then deciding what I need to do next. This is where I go with the Colol glue, and every time you see me use this glue, just bear in mind that I used way too much of it for this project. And if I was going to do this again, I would most definitely use PVA glue, which wouldn't seep through so much. Not too bad in this part of the video, but when I go and use it to attach the signature covers, or sorry, the journal cover, you will see that I use too much, and you'll see the consequence of that. But I won't spoil the surprise. And here now I just go back and forth, trying out different fabrics, try and decide what do I want this to look like. And I'm showing you the process because I'm hoping that it will help you. We all go through this. Maybe sometimes you don't see this on a tutorial, but I wanted to show you all, warts and all, what I sort of went through to try and decide on how I wanted the journal cover to look like. I didn't have any plans in mind when I started doing this, apart from seeing Shabby Soul and thinking, oh, I want to play with that, so I'm giving it a go. And what I can't decide in this part of the video is whether to have the fabric on the outside or inside the journal covers. And it really does make a difference what to do. It's really important, if you attach the covers to the fabric on the outside, then you mustn't attach the fabric to the spine. And I do mention this again in the video. And of course you need to follow Shabby Soul because she really does do an excellent job of this tutorial. So I just go through this over and over, trying out different fabrics and trying to work out which is the best way to attach. My biggest concern, if I put the fabric underneath the journal covers, would it stick, which is why I use so much glue, and really I didn't have anything to worry about, but you'll see this as we go through the process. I'm basically using table covers from my husband's grandmother's house. She passed away last year, so I really did want to use that because I thought, well, Nana's roses, and I thought it'd be a lovely touch to the journal. And I guess the look I was going for was slightly grungy, and so I wanted lots of texture on the spine. Still trying to decide. In the end, well, we are getting somewhere now, okay? And I do decide eventually to use this fabric. And it's quite bulky, as you can see, very tactile. But I thought, what the heck, let's go with it and see if it works. I also finally decide that I'm going to attach the fabric to the inside, meaning that the journal covers would be stuck on the outside of the fabric. No measuring, just kind of eyeballing, seeing what looks okay. I didn't want to add too much fabric on the inside underneath the journal covers, so I cut it as minimal as I could. And then I just followed the sort of lace fabric to try and avoid seepage as best as I could. So I've got 3 layers of fabric there, so that should keep things intact. And this is where I really did go overboard with the glue. And I would most definitely use PVA glue this time round. It stuck well, but it also seeped through, unfortunately. And also it wouldn't be such a problem if you didn't use such bulky fabric like I have for the spine there. So you do have to make compromises when you're crafting, make decisions, see how they work, and you always learn. And you can see now, well, it might not be so clear there, but you can see that the inside covers are slightly too long for the outside covers. So I do fix that later on. And I just push the 5 signatures into position and then secure them with bulldog clips. And I leave this overnight. So it's been 24 hours and I let the spine dry with, you could from the last part of the video, you could see that I glued this on with 1 inch to its life. And since I came on last, I've added a bead there, and which I bought on Etsy, and I will link the details of the shop below. And I've just added some little beads here, which I usually get from Amazon. So I'm just going to trim them and talk about what needs doing. Yesterday when I glued this, I really wasn't sure if the glue was going to hold, particularly this section here and this section here. So these 2 sections, I thought by adding this lace it was going to be too bulky, but no, the Collall glue did the trick, but unfortunately the glue seeped, and obviously I used too much glue. Well, they're nice and tidy. So you can see here there's some staining there, and there is staining there. So I'm probably going to cover that up. If that happens to you, the easiest thing to do would be to put a pocket there and a tag, etc. But I'm just going to do a little bit of a collage over it. Although it really doesn't bother me, but well, I suppose it bothers me that I went overboard with the glue. But you learn. So I just wanted to come back on to finish up and then run through some of the things that I've learned during this process, because it's been about 4 weeks. I've got a week to go in this journal to finish it up. So I'm going to work in it, and I have to say I did do some journaling in it last night, and it was really comfortable to write in. When you open it up, it lies really flat, which is great. So easy to write in. But of course, there's the practicalities of carrying this little beast around, and yeah, it's not really practical. I could probably manage to take it to work with me, but it would add some bulk to my laptop bag. So the way I've been working with a signature at the time is probably better for me on a daily basis with my journaling. I really wanted to keep this simple, and you could tell from the last video that, you know, the front and the back covers, all I've done is I've used the images from the kit. I do love the paper so much, so I was inspired to use it anyway, and I wouldn't change this. And I'm going to make another Nana's Roses journal, and I would do exactly the same in terms of using the paper. It is just so beautiful. I don't want to cover this up either, just like my signature covers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some hardware on the front. I purchased these on Amazon. I will sort out a link in the description. I've used some avocado dyed paper. It's just got a bit of a pink tinge, and then I've just stamped the word journal on there and stuck it on the back. So I'm going to pop that on. And what I'm also going to do, because I went a bit overboard there with the sizing, it didn't quite work out. no problem. I'm just going to cover that, and I've got the same problem on the back there. I could cut it off, but that'd be boring, wouldn't it? You know, we don't cut things as crafters, we cover them. So that's what I want to do, and I wanted to use some of the trims from this and pop that on there. So I think that would look nice, and do the same on the back. Not exactly the same on the back, but it's pretty similar, and I'm quite happy with it. So we're going to do that. And then what I wanted to do was just run through with you some of the things I learned through this process, and what I do differently next time, and what I really liked. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do first is pop this on, and then put the hardware on, because I want it looking like it's in the center, but it might not technically be the center because of the lace. So I'm just doing this a section at a time, otherwise it would dry too quickly. So I hope you've enjoyed all the trials and tribulations. I wanted to give the journal cover, this type of journal cover a go. I haven't made one like this before with a soft spine. I loved the tutorial by Shabby Soul. And she makes it look absolutely effortless, whereas I look like I was battling with monsters and demons. But I'm definitely going to do it again. Absolutely 100% going to give it a go. I know that's not equal, but I'm happy. So yeah, I don't know. I think maybe next time I would do something different with the signatures, and maybe sew the signature covers in with the sewing machine, and then sew the signatures in afterwards with the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I'm not too sure. It was a bit of a faff, but I think it was worth the effort. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. And yeah, I'll definitely do this again. I think if you've got some interesting material that you don't want to part with, because often when we buy fabric and we fall in love with it, we don't want to use it. Well, I suffer with that anyway, definitely. So it might be a good option to use it on a spine then, because you're using it, but you're not using so much of it. So yeah, definitely have a look at the tutorial. I'll make sure it's linked below. And she gives you lots of options and tips as well. And one of the probably most important tips that she gives in the tutorial is that as I was showing, I did think about actually using this and adding it to the cover rather than underneath the cover. If you do that and you add it to the cover, then you mustn't glue the spine, because it won't open and close properly. So that's a really good tip to remember. Okay, and that was I was reminded by one of the admin team members, Lisa, who I have to thank for, because she often reminds me about things that I completely forget about. So I'm not going to measure this, because obviously that would be too easy to do. I'm just kind of going to position it somewhere where it looks all right. So let me just make a kind of mental note of, do I want it there? Yeah, that looks okay. So if I kind of put it like that, and I will maybe make a mark there and there, so I know what I'm doing, and then put as much of this on as I can and quickly get it on there. Oh, You've got to be so quick, it's already glued. Oh, hilarious. Okay, that's not straight, but anyway, that looks all right, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I think it's perfect for my personal journal, because my personal journals are supposed to be no fuss, because if they were fussy, then I'd never finish making them. And I still got a little bit to do in here, but very little, whereas my other personal journals are completely unfinished. I haven't even got journal covers for most of them. Right, that is coming up, so I'm just gonna pop that bit of glue in there again. Ooh. And once that's dry, I will wipe away the glue, I think. Just leave it on there. Ideally, if I wasn't on camera, I would put this under some heavy books now, but as I'm on camera, I can't do that. Right, okay, so I think she's done. It's as good as it gets. So here we are. Front cover, the spine, and the back cover, and then all the lovely goodness. And I'm just going to pop to a page now where I've written out some of the lessons learned. And this is how I journal, basically, so I'm happy to share this with you. This is in my, this part is in my design team musings, as I call them. But I do this for all the journals I make, be them I sell them or for myself. I always talk about what could I do better. So it's what I change, but often I'll write really positive things in there as well. And there are loads of positives to this. I am so chuffed with the way this looks, the way it's turned out, the digital kit. It wasn't planned. I'm just really happy with how it's turned out. So what would I change? I would sew around the signature covers. Now I did on this one, but on the majority of the covers I did not, because I forgot. And then I just didn't want to go back and do it. So yeah, I would definitely sew around each cover signature next time round. If you remember, you can see here that I have used the sewing machine to keep these signature pages together because I like them to be attached. I don't like them loose when I'm writing. I'm not going to do that again. I will loose bind them like a 3-hole pamphlet stitch and then just tie a bow in. I would do that differently next time. Choose pages that match a theme. Again, I had pages, I should have really put these out, shouldn't I, to show you. I had pages where I had a lot of gesso. There we are, there's one. I don't really want to spend too much time on the writing, but and although I did enjoy that process, I think I would use less grungy pages with this type of kit next time, just to make sure it matches in. And I'd use heavier weight paper because I had quite a bit of bleed through with the writing. Prep further ahead, busy days. Yeah, I had busy days and it was difficult to come online sometimes and share the process with you guys, but it was worth the effort of doing that. Less pockets. I would definitely go for less pockets next time. I do use the cards, although see I haven't written on this one, but I've got tons of pockets in here and I would definitely do less pockets next time, definitely. And also include mixed media papers so that I can have a play with the gesso and some inks and paints and things whenever I want to. When I was writing on the gesso, I did get quite a bit of smudging, so that's something to be aware of, particularly if you're left-handed. If you use an ink gel pen, then it is inclined to smudge until you leave it dry completely. And I didn't have enough pages for my design team journal. So that's just like a little note to myself. Let's see, what else have I got here? I enjoy trying out different things and actually sharing it online with everybody has made me think a little bit more than I generally would when I'm preparing my personal journal. for instance, trying the soft spine. I thoroughly enjoyed that. As you can see, I did a lot of clusters, a lot of frills and spills on the sides of the pages. What that tends to do, though, is limit the separation, and so I would do less of that next time, and I would use more tabs so that each signature section can be separated. I could have done something on the top there, but you need to do that before you start writing, so that would be something I could do next time. What else have I got here? Do more collage and mixed media. And again, there's so much out there for us to play with and watch, and so many wonderful creative artists. It's really hard sometimes just to focus on a couple of ideas and just play with those and practice them, get good at them before you move on to the next idea, because you can watch loads of videos and you just go down a deep rabbit hole and possibly end up not doing anything. Okay, so they are my ideas. I had some other ideas on things to use and I never got round to doing that, so maybe I'll try that on the next Nana's Roses journal. And the only other thing I've forgotten to do now is to cover this. And what I was thinking was doing some kind of no fuss collage. It's a shame really that I've got to cover just a section of it. I don't really want to, but I'll just rip this out and see what it looks like. But, you know, I may just leave it in the end. Sometimes it's good to see your... Well, they're not mistakes. They're just... I don't know what you'd call them. Oh, I think it spoils it. Let's have a look at the back one. That one goes. So, yeah, I could... Yeah, that's all right. I'll do that one, because that doesn't look so out of place. And I'll just take a little bit off the bottom. There we are. So this is from a Welsh dictionary. And I'm still learning to speak Welsh. It's a lifelong pursuit. I was English born, so it doesn't come naturally to me. But it is something, it's on my sort of lifelong goals to achieve. So hopefully one day I shall greet you and converse in Welsh. But I'm nowhere near that yet. Okay. I definitely recommend, if you've got issues like that, is to put a pocket and a tag in there, and that will cover it lovely. But I just don't want another pocket and tag. On here, I'm not too sure what would go with this, and I'm just looking around. Possibly something from the kit. Let's have a look what this would look like. Well, that goes better, I think. Could do a belly band. That would definitely work. A belly band would work. Wouldn't be a pocket. The other idea I had was this, but I don't think this is going to work. I'd have to literally cover it totally. I don't mind that so much. It's just a shame to lose the top, but let's do it like that a minute. Do I want that like that? Decisions. Of course, a belly band doesn't really cover the stains. But then if I had something behind it, it would. Yep, that's it. I'm going to go with it. Let's do a simple belly band. And this paper is 160 GSM. Oh, no, it's 140. So it's quite thick. So it should withstand a bit of a beating, but then I'm not going to be using it much because this journal is nearly finished and it's going to be going on a shelf, and I doubt I will look at it again. And I think what I'll do is I'll mount it on here. And usually I would sew this, but oh, I just want to get this journal finished because it's nearly at the end and it's very exciting. You could, of course, do a double belly band, but I'm just going to glue all this down. So I'm going to see some music. This is really quite thick music paper as well. It's really lush. Okay, so I need to go right to the edge there. And I may come back and do a little embellishment on this, perhaps. I don't mind it sticking over there, I quite like that. So yeah, I think that works. Pink goes with that page. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's make the decision. And of course I need to find something to put in there as well, but that's not a problem. The kit has got loads of stuff in it. And there we have it. I think I am finished. I really hope that you've enjoyed this short series, and I hope I've inspired you to do a little bit of journaling as well. That's the whole reason why I make my journals. It just keeps me sane and it helps me through some dark and bitter days at times, but I absolutely love it. So there we go. I'll probably be sharing some photos on Instagram, my Instagram account, Hilltop View Journal. So please do join me over there. I'd love some feedback on the videos and how I can improve. And when I get round to it, I will come back and share with you how I make the second Nana Roses journal for my design team project. So thanks everyone. Would really appreciate a like and a comment if you've enjoyed watching me on making my personal journal, and I hope that you will join me in the future too. Thanks ever so much.